Happy Valentine's Day and welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today? Yeah, I know, it's Valentine's Day today. Wow, romance in the air, love all around, whether you're single or not or whatever, but, I suppose it is kind of certainly a holiday much more focused on people in a couple, or more than a couple, I suppose. Now I think about it. But yeah, it's a romantic day, all this good stuff. Give out chocolates, confess to your crush, your romantic crush, etc, etc, etc. Anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, 6:54 p.m. on Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. Isabel doesn't have a certain thing for Valentine's Day. I don't know. I think I probably did the Valentine's Day event in Animal Crossing. I must have, whatever many years ago or something. Actually, wait, I can't even remember what happens. I know the villagers give you letters with chocolates and flowers in them, which just kind of means we had to kind of clear out an inventory. Hopefully we've got enough space for all of them. And it's actually filled up our inventory, so we might have actually missed out on someone. So I apologise. Hold on, let's see. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we actually had just enough room to get one from everyone. And I think I actually probably kept the same Valentine's Day letters. I think these are the Valentine's Day letters. No, some of those might be birthdays. I don't know, from before. So we're just going to clear out our mailbox if my Joy-Con drift will allow me. But yes, you can go back to the previous year's Valentine's Day if you're interested in reading these same sort of letters, or you can just pause them right now, to be honest, because I think I've probably read them all out before, unless for whatever reason this year it's different, and if so, then I apologise. But yeah, Valentine's Day, nice little chocolates and everything, flowers, love songs, romance, dates, candles. I don't even know. I'm just saying generally romantic sort of imagery related items or whatever, which is, not normally how you celebrate a holiday. You just list out the things which are kind of commonly associated with it. But here we are. Don't turn away now. We are the warriors who will rule this town. I must have so many of these heart-shaped bouquets now, which, it'd be quite fun if I just sort of re-gifted these to each person. Just paid attention to who gave me what and then re-gifted them in a certain order. But yeah, what should we talk about? Valentine's Day related, romance related, love song related. I don't even know what I talked about on the previous. This is where I look at my own channel, because I don't know what I even talked about on previous Valentine's Day. What I was actually also thinking about, because I think I saw a story on Reddit about are you alright, Amelia? About Valentine's Day in school or something. I don't know. It was from It was a screenshot of someone else's post where we were just my child just received flowers and balloons or something on the weekend before, no, not weekend, but Friday before Valentine's Day. Should I be worried? I feel highly uncomfortable, whatever. Most people were rightfully just sort of being what are you talking about? It's a pretty normal thing to happen, but then I thought about it more and I was I don't think Valentine's Day has ever fallen on a school day. I cannot remember ever celebrating Valentine's Day in school, which, I don't know if that's necessarily a good or bad thing, per se. Because, well, I don't know. Because in America, it's very different. If you don't know the holiday system in the UK, we have terms and half terms, which basically means every 8 weeks or so, we get 2 weeks off. And then every 4 weeks, we get 1 week off, kind of. And then we have a significantly shorter, we're half the length of a summer holiday instead. It isn't in America, summer holidays 3 months or something. It's from the start of June to September, which is insane. But also could be quite fun. I don't know. Depends how things go. While UK it's just more sort of dispersed out, while America is just the only other holiday you have, I think, is probably Christmas time, Thanksgiving, I'd imagine. And I don't really know what else. But I don't go to school in America, so I don't know. I didn't go to school in America. And I also suppose I still don't, but still. But I can't remember a time back in school where we ever had Valentine's Day in school. So there was no exchange of Valentine's cards or chocolates or anything. No love confessions, as far as I can tell. If anything, Valentine's Day is not really, because of that, it's not really celebrated for children, I suppose. Which I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. When you're a child, you don't really have when you're a child, you certainly do have romantic, well, I shouldn't say you certainly. It's very common to have romantic crushes or whatever. Especially when you're a a teenager, I suppose, you start getting, you know, into thinking about dating, etc., etc., etc. So, you know, let's not rob children and teenagers of any of their feelings, you know, and just say, you know, you didn't feel that. Because, you know, love is an eternal thing which can be felt by, you know, anyone, to be perfectly honest. But I always feel like it's a very not cliche thing, but it's a very sort of like tropey, like, oh, but today's a Valentine's Day episode, and like these like American school drama things or like cartoons that I used to watch when I was younger. But I never really thought about the fact that never really happened in our schools, because Valentine's Day always, it's a half term right now, I believe, this week. But Valentine's Day always falls on a half term for just whatever reason. I don't know if it's particularly that way, or it's just because it's coincidentally, you know, about however many weeks from those 6 weeks. Yeah, so every 6 weeks you get 1 week off, every 4. And for 12 weeks you get 2 weeks off? Is that right? I don't know, something like that. Yeah, but it probably just coincidentally never falls on the right day. I'm trying to search Valentine. Let's see, Valentine's gifting, happy Valentine's Day. So I guess today I'll talk about, I don't know, Valentine's cards or that sort of things. No, like romantic confession, something like that. Because I can't even think of a moment back in school, primary school nor secondary school, where someone had like a romantic confession to someone else. No, but yeah, I genuinely can't think of a time which that happened. It seems to be a much bigger thing, like that media properties would lead me to believe, and like not in American schools necessarily, but, you know, American media properties, I suppose, where it's always this like romantic crush, just like, today I'm gonna, you know, confess to my crush, and then the crush is always like some really like attractive person, you know, for a teenager, which kind of feels weird to say, but, you know, in the context of a story, I suppose. It's certainly weird for me to say like that now. I didn't know. You know what I meant. A popular, shall we say, teenager, and then they like open their locker and like outpours of like candy and like chocolates and Valentine's cards, like a waterfall out of their locker, and then, you know, the like main character, who's always like some hopeless loser or something, just be like, oh, I'll never be with them or whatever, and, you know, they go on some like roundabout thing trying to give their like card or like chocolates to this popular person, then they always like, you know, get like muscled out of the way by someone who's more popular or whatever, and then, you know, at the end of the day, they somehow manage to actually, they're like sitting, you know, dejected at the end of the school day, being like, oh, I'll never give you a card, and then like the crush like walks in and being like, oh, hey, they had a nice conversation, etc., etc., etc. Apparently you two are having your own private moments, so I'll leave you to it. And then the main character is like, I was meant to give you this, and then, you know, the crush accepts it, and then it's like, oh, there's an insinuation that maybe the crush actually likes them back. There's hope for the main character, and then, you know, there's no continuity between any episodes, so that is probably forgotten about forever, until maybe the series finale where they actually, you know, get together. That's always my interpretation of it. Or maybe I've watched too many Disney Channel shows. Not that I can even think of a Disney Channel show where that even like applies in the first place. Like maybe Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Didn't that happen? Like, wasn't he in love with, like, someone called Frankie? No, Frankie was the other character. No, wasn't it Frankie loved Ned? And Ned loved the popular girl, like, Sarah? Wait, didn't they start dating at some point, but then they broke up? I can't remember. I feel like I'm making this up. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? Anyway. Also, I need to do a thumbnail art for him. I didn't really think about it for this day. I haven't done that one yet. There's not many holidays left until we're switching over to thumbnail art, which is weird to think about. I haven't even started the next year thumbnail art, but I have said I know what it's going to be. Probably. I've yet to see person outsmart bullet. But yeah, what else was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know. But, like, you know, I mean, it's a very common thing in anime as well, so I assume Valentine's Day lands actually during a school time for... Oh, wait, how does this work? For Japan. I'm not really an expert in Japanese, like, school terms or whatever. Excuse me. But I know that the Japanese school term starts in April, if you don't know, and then... the big holiday, I believe, happens in May. I mean, they might have some holidays as well, but they have one in May or something called like Golden Week or something, which I don't really know much about it. It's just like people go traveling or something for that week. I guess it's like the first big holiday. I don't really know. Oh, it's a Star Fragment Island. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's a very like classic thing in anime. You know, you got the flower, the sakura petals like floating around, which don't really make sense now. I think about it. It's a bit like sort of out of season for February, isn't it? Don't the flower blossoms don't start blooming until like April or something. But anyway, you know, someone like we're holding a letter under like a tree in the school or whatever, and like the wind is blowing, and then like senpai or whoever comes up, and you know they have a confession. I don't know, I'm not really describing so well. You know what I'm talking about, sort of like whole love confession trope under I was gonna say under the cherry tree, which is not normally what it is. That's in fact a short story I wrote. It's called Under the Cherry Tree. I forgot about that. I was meant to start publishing and uploading my short stories somewhere on the web. Excuse me, Joy-Con drift. But yeah, I cannot think of a time anyone had like a romantic crush confession or something. It probably happened a few times during university, but not as much as I remember. Like obviously I wasn't there for like your private moments when someone says, and they're a lot more understated, I think, than you might expect. You know, it's just sort of like two people being drunk, being like, "Hey, I like you too," and then you know, I don't know, they start dating or something. It's basically as far as I can recall from the few people who ended up like confessing to each other during university time. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Valentine's Day just like wasn't really much celebrated. That I can think back in schooling time for me here in the UK. Maybe it was for you, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not a bad idea, I don't know. Because it just becomes a sort of thing, I assume, where people just kind of have to, oh, hello, Joy-Con drift. It's more like an obligation, I suppose, to give out, like, cards and chocolates, right? You know? Just thinking back to about Simpsons episodes or whatever. Everyone's got a little mailbox of her just making Valentine's cards for each other or whatever. I don't know if that's particularly an accurate representation, I suppose, of what actually happens in like schooling times during Valentine's Day. But still, at least that's, you know, it's a popular media property, and thus that is the association I have now garnered with it. But it just sort of becomes an obligation, because I certainly remember during primary school, Christmas time, it was basically a given that everyone would give Christmas cards to each other. Like it was just classic, like every kid in my class, so would go buy out like a pack of 30 or a pack of like 50 or whatever many Christmas cards, and then handwrite to every single person being like, "Dear, you know, Alice, you know, Merry Christmas from dear," or something. "Dear Bob, Merry Christmas from dear," etc., etc. For every single person in my class. At least that's what I remember doing. And you know, it's just sort of like you get. To be fair, it's actually quite nice because you get a nice collection of like Christmas cards that you know put on your mantelsill. That's nothing on your like windowsill or your mantle or whatever, which is nice feeling when you're a child, I suppose. It's always nice to feel appreciated, isn't it? But you can certainly see, you know, you compare like whose parents went out and got the nice Christmas cards, and whose parents were like, you know, would just get the discount ones that you can get from Tesco's. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, you know. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way, I suppose, necessarily to buy Christmas cards for some like 7-year-olds who probably won't even necessarily remember it when they're older. But it's always a fun experience opening them up. I know, that's what I imagine Valentine's Day is like, also in maybe American schools, except for like, you know, yeah, I guess with chocolates, maybe, or cards. I can't say I particularly know, but sounds like it could certainly be quite, I'm not sure nuisance is going to really be the right word, but it does sound like it can be a bit of a hassle, I suppose, having to write out so many cards. Or I suppose because, you know, society's quite heteronormative, you probably only had to write half amount of cards out. I shouldn't say it's because society's heteronormative, you know. That's not what I mean. And I mean, like, you know, depending, you only need to write out cards, I suppose, depending to the demographic that you are particularly romantically interested in the first place. Probably. I don't know. I guess if you're in a relationship, well, if you're in a relationship already on Valentine's Day, I guess you just don't partake in it. I don't really know now I think about it. I haven't really given this much thought, as you can tell, and that's about it. I've talked about the fact that they have something called White Day in Japan as well, which, you know, of course I only know because of anime sort of related things. But basically, in Japan, well, I think Japan, you know, obviously is quite traditional. So it's like, oh, on Valentine's Day, the girls give the guys chocolates or whatever. And then on White Day, it's meant to be the guys give the girls, like, presents. in return, but often are white things or whatever. Of course, nowadays I think you can certainly expand the definition to Valentine's being like you making the first move, I suppose, or not you, people in general making the first move by giving like handmade chocolates or whatever to the people they're romantically interested in on Valentine's Day, and then White Day being reciprocation of that favour by giving back things, you know, white chocolate things or like plushies or flowers which are white as a sort of like a thank you for the gift, I suppose. You get what I mean? I think that's a nice way to do it. I'll say Valentine's Day, cool name. White Day, it's, I feel like it also needs a cool name like Valentine's. We need like another saint to come along to be like, hey, this is what we should name the day after. Anyway, yeah, but there's a lot of like romance-based holidays, because if you don't know, like the Lantern Festival, which I talked about when on Tangyuan Day, is also kind of like the Valentine's Day in China, I would say. Obviously, Valentine's Day, I'd imagine, is probably like a Western invention if it's named after Saint Valentine, but I don't know that for certain, so you know, don't quote me on it. But Lantern Festival is meant to be the Valentine's Day, is where you're meant to meet like a romantic partner or something, and then or fall in love with someone, etc., etc. Yeah, you can tell that, you know, that's how big Chinese New Year is, I suppose, in China, especially that so many like of these holidays, I suppose, are tied up with it in the first place. But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say about that, to be honest. So I assume probably many cultures have their own like equivalent of a Valentine's Day. It seems like a very natural thing to arise, being like a holiday related to like finding love or like your romantic partner, etc., right? Anyway, but basically, long and short of it was that not many romantic crushes being confessed to, I suppose, in school. I don't know if it's a shame really or anything. It's just sort of like I guess that's just sort of real life. There's no grand fanfare surrounding these sort of things most of the time. It's not dramatic. It's just sort of like, it is what it is. People are human. And plus, there's probably a lot of effort to go through like a big dramatic, like you know, like promposals. A very, very American thing, also. But probably a lot of effort to go through in the first place. I can't imagine also doing it for like romantic interest, and like, you know, people don't like to go through romantic confessions all that often, because it's like, you know, the sting of rejection is the fear and sting of rejection is, you know, quite a painful thing, understandably, but you know, it is also part of life. You never know until you try, is basically that sort of thing. But yeah, I believe Brewster gives you hot chocolate today on Valentine's Day, which is why we're here, I think. You could put some marshmallows in there. Bum ba dum bum. Oh, it's so sweet. This is hot chocolate. It's warming my heart. I think we've done this each year, probably. Maybe, I don't really remember. I think on the first year we played Animal Crossing, this was the only event related to Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you too, Brewster. Anyway, if you're not in a relationship and you're not like doing something special, I mean, if you're doing something special, awesome, it is what I'd say, you know, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a fantastic time with you and your romantic partner. And if you're not, then, you know, I suppose you can always look forward to the fact that in upcoming days, all Valentine's Day chocolates is going to be on massive sales or whatever. And when I was walking through London today, and I was just like, wow, like I passed through quite a few, but not passed by quite a few like chocolate shops, and unsurprisingly, they're all Valentine's themed. I mean, they were Valentine's themed like basically like a month ago. It was like as soon as New Year rolled around or whatever, that they were already Valentine's themed, because I guess that was the next big holiday. And you know, it's a chocolate shop. It's probably one of their biggest like money making times, I'd imagine, Christmas and Valentine's. So you know, I guess it's kind of unsurprising. You know what's even more surprising is that like commercialism hasn't like tried to take advantage of a fact of like the existence of White Day or whatever, and like try to promote it and make it more of a thing, because you would have thought they'd leap on that and be like, oh, you know, another way to, you know, get promotions and make money again. Just throwing it out there, if you run like a chocolate store or something. market yourself to the niche Japanese audience, and then other people can partake and be like, oh, you know, this is cool. Also, isn't there like, wait, there's another one where it's like Pepperlo Day, right? Which is meant to be 11/11. Which is it's also like a Memorial Day, I suppose, but in the UK, but it's also like in the Korean culture, I think. Oh no, that's not selfies. I meant self for flowers, not fruits. Where it's like you give like pepperlo, which is pocky, I suppose you might know it better as, or mikado, to someone, you know, you as like a romantic gift or something. I remember that we did it in university, except it wasn't romantic. You just give it to a friend and something. So so I gave it to a friend, and a friend gave it to me. You know, all you had to do, you had to like tag them with like a photo or something on a Facebook page and something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we both got pepperoni and it was great. Yeah, and on that note, I suppose I'll round this episode off here. You know, you might think, you know, is this where you're going to do a romantic confession to a viewer? I suppose to be in keeping with the video. No, I don't. You know, that seems like a disrespect, I suppose, to the parasocial relationship nature, I suppose, of these videos in the first place. And I feel like that's sort of adding fuel to a fire in a way which is not necessary. So yeah, I'll just be like, I hope you have a happy Valentine's Day. So if you haven't been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Twitter, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, happy Valentine's Day. Or bye-bye for now. I don't know, same thing. You know what you get for. What doesn't even make sense. Oh well.